and fair trade tourism. Also lovely, thank you to everybody for just actually checking in on the meeting chat. If I can actually ask you all to just indicate there where you're from. It's always nice having the business name and the geographical place. Are you Durban, Cape Town, wherever are you from? It's always nice to see that and just to sort of know the audience and who's here as well. So thanks so much for doing that. My name is Grace Stead, and I am newly appointed Managing Director for Fair Trade Tourism, actually General Manager for Fair Trade Tourism, and just still busy finding my feet, to be totally honest. That said, I have been doing the fair trade audits for the last 8 years or so, the third-party audits. So I'm familiar with the technical side of things and how things work. Really today is starting to look at just using the SATSA platform to speak about what is responsible tourism, why is it important, and starting to look at, okay, what is it that you can actually do? So it's very much an introduction today. And we're hoping to build on this so that sort of every 2 months we'll have a follow-up, short bite-sized session like we've got today, taking it further, next steps, things like that. But today is really just sort of demystifying responsible tourism. And yes, hello to everybody. I see we've got quite a wide range of people from different accommodation places, from Mossel Bay, and we've got Leopard Mountain and Africa Safari Collective, Wendy Springbok Atlas based in Cape Town, Tabalegai Guest Lodge in Rustenburg. I grew up in Rustenburg, so there we go. Special welcome to Millicent from my hometown, where I'm no longer. I'm now based in Cape Town. So to get started then, I think it's good for us to move forward. I'm really just looking at responsible tourism. What is that? Where is that? Where do we start? So just to briefly put it into perspective, looking at responsible tourism, it's looking at how do we do things in a sustainable manner. So it's a strategy that emphasizes making better places for people to live, to work, and to visit, which actually really requires everybody involved in the tourism industry to take responsibility for their own actions and impacts. So on the one hand, yes, it is the business, whether it is accommodation or transport or different activities, tours. How does one actually do it in a way that is actually responsible? But also on the other hand, when we have visitors, they also need to take responsibility for their actions as well, because traveling does have a large impact on the surrounding community and on the broader sense of as well with people and with the environment. So that's just the first step on what do we mean with responsible tourism. And then moving on, fair trade tourism, and that is what we do. We are a membership organization that promotes responsible and ethical tourism practices, ensuring that tourism benefits both the local communities as well as the environment. So just to explain it in a very simple way, we look at the community. That's the people that work in the business. It's the community of the visitors that actually come there and actually participate using the services that are provided, but it is very much also the surrounding community around that business. Quite often we work with remote accommodation and their surrounding community is very much reliant on actually what happens in this business. So that sense of community is very important, the people side of things. Then we also look at the environment. That's very much coming down to resource efficiency and how do we actually make sure that whatever this business does doesn't have a negative impact on the environment, and wherever we can, we actually leave it better rather than worse off. And thirdly, we look at good business. This is good governance. This is the basics of making sure that you can still run your business in a responsible manner and that it's still making the money it needs to make. But at the end of the day, it's a triple bottom line. It's about people, planet, and prosperity, and how all three of these actually come together and work together. But remember that this is a journey. This is not something that you do and then it's done and then it's over. It's an ongoing process where you're actually needing to continuously look at how do you improve, what has changed, how do you actually stay up to speed with what actually the latest development is around this as well. So just as a bit of an introduction to fair trade tourism, our mission is guiding the African tourism industry to benefit people, business, and the environment. So what is very important is that it has been developed in Africa for Africa. It was piloted in 2001 under IUCN, and we became a non-profit in 2004. More recently, last year, we were endorsed by Travelist for our credibility in sustainable tourism certification. So we're one of the very few companies in Africa that have actually been endorsed by Travelist and internationally recognized for the work that we are actually doing. And this is very important when you are actually reaching out to international markets. We've got a growing footprint, initially focused on South Africa, but have grown beyond that as well. Botswana, Madagascar, Mozambique, and then also most recently Uganda, where we're currently working very much in the engaged phase, just still starting to work with different businesses there. That was a program that only kicked off last year, but also focusing on Zambia and Zimbabwe as well, where we've had some property certified for a while. I think as part of our tourism footprint, it's also important to look at where does this pull through to, because when our businesses are actually certified, that information goes through and it is also available on various online travel platforms. And there we're trying to see how do we actually make sure that it is recognized so that people can actually know that we are certified for fair trade tourism. So if your business has actually gone through that process, it's reached a certain standard, that it actually also gets recognized internationally. So all of you are actually here for this slide, because if you're wanting to understand what is responsible tourism, you would want to know, okay, but how can fair trade tourism actually help me? So just a few of the things that we do: webinars, networking, engagement sessions, such as this, what we've got here, training sessions online or in person as well, where we actually work with people, engaging, doing advocacy work so that people can just try and understand understand better what we are doing, but very much it is about sharing of the information. We've got an online platform with step-by-step guidance and specific templates that you can actually download, so that if you're needing to do something and you're not quite sure how to do it, you can actually get guidance off our platform on how this can actually be done. We do marketing through social media, websites, and also with online travel agencies. We look at advocacy work and alignment with the international requirements. So we're constantly looking on your behalf also what's happening internationally. How do we link up there? How do we make sure that this brand that we represent is actually also something that is internationally recognized and in line with the latest requirements? We can provide third-party certification in line with international standards. So as you can see here, our main focus is providing you support on your process, on your journey. But then part of that is the certification. And this certification is actually third-party certified against the Fair Trade Tourism Standards, which is in line with international standards. But the fact that it's third-party certified is very important because it actually allows for that objectivity as well. Our sustainability or environmental social governance framework aims to maximize tourism benefits, and together with that also to manage or mitigate any of the burdens that are caused through tourism. So our framework supports you through our third-party certification, through our ongoing advocacy work that we're doing, the marketing, the online platform. All of this is ways that we can actually support you on your journey towards a more responsible tourism product. The process that we've got, in short, you can start off as just joining as a member, and then you are engaged, and then you can get certified. So just to unpack that a bit more, online registration is very easy. You can go to the Fairtrade Tourism platform, register there. Your membership profile then gets activated. And once you are recognized as a member, we've gone through the onboarding process and everything, then you can actually start to use the online platform. That is then where you actually report on your current operations against the Fairtrade Tourism criteria. And you then start to look at, okay, what do we need to do? How do we adapt? We don't have this policy. Let's see, what does the template say? Okay, we can download this. We can adapt this policy for our own usage. And then work on this to make sure that over time you've got everything that you're needing to do. So this you do at your own pace, your own time. You've got a mentor allocated to you that provides you guidance on the online platform, and you use this platform to be able to see what are the things that you need to do within your business. We often find that our members say that, oh, we never thought about that, but now that we're going through the process, it really helps us to understand all the different things that we're needing to do and gives us guidance on how we can do it. Once you have done all the criteria and you're happy with that, then you can actually ask for independent verification. And that is then for the first time when you do the certification, you have a on-site verification. So an auditor will come to you and double check on everything is in place, all the documents that you uploaded are aligned with what's actually happening on the ground. Once you've done that, then you can get the recognition. So there are two levels there. The first one is if you just Fairtrade Tourism engaged, but that's just the entry level. It doesn't really give the recognition that you use. It's just sort of saying, hey, listen, we are on a journey. And then what you're really working towards is to actually become Fairtrade Tourism certified, where you can really have the certification and say that we've actually done this. So I'm going to just touch on the difference between engaged and certified. Here you can see the top one is Fairtrade Tourism Engaged. It's the entry level. There are a total of 54 criteria, also across everything. It's social, environmental, cultural, and heritage criteria. You need to meet the mandatory criteria, all of them, as well as 80% of the general criteria. This verification gets done online, and you've got a mentor who can help you. You upload all your documents, you do everything online, and then we do a remote interview, and that needs to be re-verified every 2 years. So that is for people who just want to sort of show, listen, we're starting, we're on the journey, we're there. And that's something that we started only last year, working specifically in the Uganda area, but it is available for anybody who would like to do that. Note that the difference is that if you are engaged, you can't use the Fairtrade Tourism logo as such, because you can't say that you are certified, because you're not certified yet, you're only on the journey. However, once you have done everything and you're wanting to move forward, then you can actually engage with us and say, yes, we'd like to be certified. For the certification, there is a total of 174 criteria. Of these, about 120 are mandatory and about 50 are general criteria. You have to once again meet all the mandatory criteria. But of the general criteria, you only need to meet 75% of those. Yes, it is a lot of criteria. Yes, it is a lot of hard work. But it is worth it because it takes you through a process of also thinking things through and working through things and actually identifying risks, identifying opportunities. And this actually, it's about the process that really helps you to know where you can improve in your business and what you can actually do. So, yeah, for the certification, certified option, you work on the same platform, everything's the same, but then you have to get all the criteria and 70% of the general. And then you also there, you upload your evidence, everything like that. But for certification, we do an on-site audit. So a third-party auditor who's appointed by Fair Trade Tourism, somebody who's got knowledge of our processes and how we work, they will then go to you and actually do the on-site audit. They do a report, provide it back to us, we review that, and then if we're happy with that, you've met all the criteria, then you can get Fair Trade Tourism certified status. This needs to be renewed and verified again every 3 years. For the follow-ups, they don't all need to be in person, especially post-COVID. We're moving more towards the online platform and doing more online verification. But the first audit, it's very important to actually do that in person to make sure that everything actually aligns. Okay, so those are the requirements, both for engaged and certified. I'm going to just move on. I don't know if there are maybe any questions. Kim, are there any questions in the comment block that I maybe need to look at? Otherwise, I'm happy to also just take questions a bit later.
You can move on. There was one question, but you actually answered it in the end, so you can move on.
Good. Okay, so just going on, this is our sustainability framework, environmental social governance side of things. And these are all the different categories that we look at. So the first 6 are applicable to all the businesses, whereas the volunteer tourism and community tours are only applicable if you are actually applying for that, specifically looking at the tourism or the community tour side of things. Just to run through them, it's firstly is your commitment and your commitment to and communication around fair trade tourism. How is this actually projected? How do you speak about it? How can you visually see in your accommodation or your tours or whatever the case may be, what that is, and that it is clearly communicated is very important. Then we look at good business practice, looks at the economical side of things, but very much also looking at what are the legal requirements. And there we tick a lot of the boxes, making sure that the legal requirements are actually up to date, that the documentation provided is correct. From there, we also look at social economic benefits. That's very much looking at the staff. Do they also understand their business contracts? Do they get their pay slips? Do they get everything that's actually required in terms of the law? Also just how do you work with the local people? Are you giving preference to local if you're appointing new staff, that you're actually looking at the local economy as well. And then also things like where are you actually buying your products from? Cultural heritage, also very important. How is that dealt with? Is it in a respectful manner? If you are in a cultural sensitive area, how is that managed? If, for example, you're in the middle of the town, there's no cultural heritage around, there's nothing for you, then you mark that as not applicable. But usually we try and also encourage how do you actually bring that into your business so that it is actually also appropriately displayed. Environmental impact management, that very much looks at your resource efficiency, energy, waste, water, all the normals, but also just it looks at unpacking the risks around that so that you're also making sure that you know what the potential impacts would be, but also measuring your actual impact on what are you actually doing and how you can actually improve that. We also look at carbon footprinting, but that is not compulsory it's not a compulsory criteria, so people will work up to that over time. But that is also just sort of, we provide guidance around that, and we start with looking at, okay, how do we measure our impact? Because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And then lastly, on applicable to all business is biodiversity, ecosystem, and landscapes. That's our really natural environment, and how are we working with that? Because a lot of the businesses that are members with Fair Trade Tourism are in very sensitive environmental areas, and we want to make sure that that's also covered. Okay, so moving on from that, just giving you a quick glance. I've literally just got 3 slides here of our digital platform. It'll take me a whole hour to just focus on the platform alone, but just to show you that it's a very easy to use platform. If you are a member, then you get your own portal. You go in there, you upload your documents, it's your stuff. You can allocate your team members to join you, to help you. You can go on there, you do whatever you're needing to do. So all these, if I just go one back, these different categories that you can see here, A through to H, they repeated here with, you can see in blue, Fair Trade Tourism, commitment and communication. And underneath that are quite a few different categories. And underneath that are quite a few different criteria. So Fair Trade Tourism commitment, you can see, has got 2 criteria. And then as you go down, they're more around employee engagement and sharing to inspire and things like that. So this just gives you an overview of everything. Yes, is there a question?
Grace?
Yes.
Yeah. I think your screen sharing stopped. I'm not seeing your screen anymore.
Oh dear.
You are Lisa. Alisa, I am. Don't know if someone else can just acknowledge.
I can also see it. I can still see it.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, apologies. Thanks, just me.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so that's the digital platform that we've got, and just showing, this is just the high level. On the left-hand side, you can also see the different reports that you can draw and guidance and things like that. But just moving on from this, if you actually click on one of the specific criteria, you'll go into this, and then you'll see that there is specific questions, such this one is, what are the measures in place to ensure good occupational health and safety management and employee well-being? And then down here, you can see is the reporting tab. And then on this reporting tab, you answer all the questions, you provide your motivations there, you upload your supporting documents, everything that relates to this specific criteria. But what's great with this as well is right next to the reporting criteria, and you can see it's over there, is a guidance tab. And this actually provides you practical guidance on what to do. It provides you templates that you can download to see how can you actually adapt it for your own use. It provides legislation. It provides other support as well. So if you're not sure what to do when you look at the reporting tab, you check on the guidance tab, and you can actually just read through that, and you can actually see what you're needing to do. Then I don't have a screenshot of that, but next to that you can see is the remarks tab, and that is how you and your mentor actually communicate, looking at what are the things that you're needing to do. So if you've uploaded some documents and they need more refining, or you need to answer more questions or something, then under the remarks tab, you and your coach can actually communicate around a specific question that's arisen there. So that's just, it's just a very high level overview of our digital platform, just to show you we've got that. I'm happy to spend more time on this in the future. But I think it's just, in this day and age, really important to actually have an online platform. Very easy to use. The people love it. It's really practical. And once you've got the data there, you've got it online, and then you can just continue working on that over time. And here also what's nice is you can work at your own pace. Another question I often get asked is who is eligible to actually participate in fair trade tourism. So we're looking at accommodation, Different attractions, so places that you can go and visit and see what's actually happening. For example, currently speaking to Robben Island about potentially being fair trade tourism accredited. Then there are different activities. Yes, a variety of activities. We've got various things, treetop canopy walks, and different tours and things like that. Also whale watching, and that those are also activities as examples. Food services, it's quite often associated with accommodation. Not usually too many restaurants are standalone, but in the tourism industry, if you're focusing on that, it's an option. Venues as well, but the strong focus needs to be on the tourism venues and not just events venues. Volunteer tourism, that's an option as well. We've seen a bit of a decline in that post-COVID, but we do believe it will come back again, and we've got specific criteria around that. And then community tours, and that is more specifically where there's a third party that is actually doing specific tours within the community. So those are the different businesses. What is important is that they're located in Africa and operate in one of these tourism product categories. Just to add to that, that tour operators and DMCs actually follow a different process. For the tour operators, we work in partnership with TravelLife, and then TravelLife, if they are TravelLife certified, we assist with the processes around that and the mentoring, as well as the third-party certification. And then once they are actually TravelLife certified, then they're also recognized by Fair Trade Tourism. I wanted to also just touch on the current trends, because why are we doing this? Why is this actually important? And just to look at this is World Economic Forum. Survey of travelers finds 76% want more sustainable options. And this was in 2023 already. More recent one, bookings.com, this is their 2025 research, which reveals a growing traveler awareness of tourism impact on communities, both at home and abroad. And more people are actually asking for this. In addition to this, it's not just the trends from the travelers, but we are also finding that there's a change in our key source market legislation. For example, the Green Claims Directive that is coming in. So if you are claiming to say that you are eco-friendly, or that you are a green lodge or eco lodge or something like that, and you don't actually have third-party certification, it can become an issue. And this is something that's slowly creeping up on us, and people need to be very aware of that. What you're most likely going to find is that there'll be a slow shying away of, well, just to be on the safe side, we won't actually go there because they're actually not certified, although they say they're eco. That's the potential risk around that one. The other thing is corporate sustainability reporting and corporate sustainability due diligence that's required. That's already also coming up a lot more. And specifically the European market is sort of saying we're needing to see third-party certification. We can't just rely on a business giving their own report. It actually needs to be verified that there's no greenwashing involved, and that what is said is true, and it needs to align also with the international standards. And that's one thing that I'm really happy about, is that we do actually align with the international standards. So if we look at what does this actually mean, what does responsible tourism actually look like? A few examples I've got here. Flat Dogs Camp in Zambia. They said that we hope that the certification will lead to more Zambian operators following our lead, and to us working together to protect this beautiful country and the wonderful people who live here. As you can see, it's quite upmarket, but it is still true to its core focusing on the people, focusing on the environment, and providing the customers with the best service available. Bahimar, they're in Mozambique. I did their audit earlier on this year, and throughout COVID, they kept on operating. They were under different lockdown laws than what South Africa was, but they've been really resilient in just continuing throughout COVID and really pulling things back together again. So they said that our Fair Trade Tourism affiliation has a very positive influence on our operations. It has greatly enhanced our marketing efforts, and we actively engage with our guests, encouraging sustainable practices and community awareness. With its rigorous audit, our Fair Trade certified status underscores our commitment and adds credence to our message. It also encourages us as hoteliers to constantly review and assess our environmental impact and to maintain our focus on staff development and community projects. So that's Bahimar in Mozambique. Another example that I've got, which has been close to my heart for many years, is Bulangula Lodge. They are on in the Transkei, right on the coastline there. And the amazing thing is that this lodge is actually owned by the community. I also did their recertification recently, and it was really just lovely speaking to the staff and just seeing how this business actually has such a positive impact on the surrounding community, and how it has grown over time. So they say that Fair Trade Tourism's rigorous certification process and continuous guidance have been pivotal in refining our business practices, ensuring that we operate not only with commercial success in mind, but also in harmony with the highest principles of what is best for the Ngili environment and its people. Joining Fair Trade Tourism is not just a certification, it's transformative and a commitment to a better, brighter future for tourism. And the last example that I've got here is Ghost Mountain Inn, a fascinating place that was actually established over 100 years ago because it was the only trading post in the area. And the trader's wife said, listen, if you don't build me a separate house where I can put all these visitors in, I'm divorcing you. So started with a 7-room lodge, and today it's a 70-room lodge, hotel, 4 stars. And they've also very much in the community, in the middle of nowhere, and they've said that our Fair Trade Tourism journey has been nothing short of remarkable. This process has pushed us to go above and beyond its holistically considering our operations. All staff have become hands-on in nurturing our growth, weaving old and solid practices with new and existing ones. We were and will remain challenged to think differently, discuss differently, and behave differently on both a company and a personal level. And it's really lovely to see how they've embraced this and how the Fair Trade Tourism journey has actually also supported them on their journey that they've actually been doing for many years already. So if you are interested, you are also welcome to join the Fair Trade Tourism journey. Our website, www.fairtradetourism.org. You can go on there, literally click on the join button, and you can sign up there. There is some more information there as well if you are interested. Yeah, I'm happy also to take any emails, telephone calls, or anything like that. I'm happy to still answer some questions, but in closing, I just wanted to add this in. Developed in Africa for Africa, Fair Trade Tourism support and certification intend to ensure local relevance, best practice alignment, to be inclusive and affordable, and reflect the ever-shifting sustainable development priorities to which tourism businesses must adapt in order to continue creating better places to live, to work, and to visit. And that's really what Fair Trade Tourism is all about. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to contact me. And I'm also happy to take any other questions that we might have right now. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Grace. And it didn't occur to me, but the picture when I went off video was Hannalee's, and I'm obviously not Hannalee. I'm just using Hannalee's account. So I'm Kim from SATSA, Communications Manager, for anyone who is confused. Thanks so much, Grace. We will be doing, like what Grace said, a webinar every second month. And we were discussing earlier this morning that a really good one would be to go through the platform on the next webinar. So I think that will be something that will line up. But if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see, please do email either Grace or myself. I did pop my email address in the chat section, and then we can put that schedule together according to what your needs and wants are. Grace, we did have one question. It was from Quinton. He wanted to know if the FTT certification impacts your booking.com listing. I don't know if that's something that you can answer now for us.
I might, yeah, okay, so we, at the moment, okay, Lisa, sorry. Yes, please, Lisa, I know you're there. Come on, please help me out here.
Okay. Hi. I can help with that one, Kim. And sorry, it was Quinton, I guess, who asked that. There is a sorting feature on booking.com and the other OTAs that recognize FTT certification. So anybody who is looking for a holiday that is certified by a credible certification scheme, they can do so. Unfortunately, they're not giving them preferential listings yet, and it would be interesting to see if they would actually do some research in terms of conversion rates as well. There is historical information, I think it was on hotel beds. They did some really interesting research about conversion rates, and it was 3% for non-certified businesses and up to between 8 and 11 for certified ones. So for me, that was like, that's meaningful research. Good to know. So hopefully booking.com and Google Travel, etc., do that soon. So yeah, it's a little bit complicated, but there is a search filter that can be used. So it is easier for people to identify businesses that are certified. I hope does that help, Quinton? Oh, another good reason to join FTT. Totally agree.
I think Quinton is satisfied with that. Thank you. We have a question. We have a question from Don. Don wants to know if we want to also get the long run certification in addition to our FTT certification. Does FTT have an arrangement with them to achieve this?
No, we don't have an arrangement in place with them. We know what they're doing, we respect what they're doing, they're doing great work. They've currently only got, I think, 2 properties in South Africa, and they're much more international. They are also further up in Africa, but they've got a lot more of an international focus, where we are a lot more local and more cost effective. So maybe just bear that in mind if you are looking at long run. Yeah, we unfortunately the 2 are very similar, so there's no need really to get both. So
oh, sorry, you've cut out, Grace. You're not on mute, but you've cut out. There we go.
Not on unmute.
There we go. You fine?
Okay, sorry, I don't know why that happened. So I was saying I don't think that there's a need to have both. Yes, if you, I think just do a comparison as well. I'll be happy to chat you through any of that.
Yeah, I was going to say we will obviously share the recording as well as contact details post webinar. And Don, I think it would be good for you to connect with Grace and have a discussion there.
Happy to do that. I've got 1 or 2 other messages here as well that actually came through as a direct message. Would villa rental companies fall under accommodation? Yes, that would fall there. And then what I can also just add in is that if there are 3 or more hotels under an umbrella, then we can also look at, if you use the same policies throughout, we can look at a discounted rate that actually helps if you've got more properties that you'd like to sign up. And then also just to add in that our rate is based on full-time employees. And it goes from about, well, if you've got about 10 employees, it's about 3,000 Rand as membership fee per annum. And then if you are about 100 employees, it goes up to about 10,000 Rand. So converting that to euros, dollars, and comparing it to some of the other guys, it's good value for money. And it is because we are local and we are here that we can do that. Just want to see if there is another question. I just see something here. We're a community-owned game lodge, Kabanikwe Lodge. We see you mentioned Bulagula Lodge, which is community-owned. Would you connect us with them for peer learning processes? And would we get assisted with structuring of a joint venture between us and our investor? I don't want to commit to the structuring of a joint venture, but definitely what I can commit to is being able to do peer-to-peer learning. So there, Bulangula and Witsi's Hook are both community-owned. And also a really interesting business structure is with the treetop canopies, where they've actually got quite a few of their staff members also part owning the business, because they just figured out that's the best way to look after your equipment, make them owners. If it breaks, they help to pay. They're the first one to tell their colleagues not to break anything. So there's some really interesting discussions there as well. And I'll be happy to connect you up there as well. We also have a very strong, and we call it the Fair Trade family, a really strong network of people who support each other. I'm on various WhatsApp groups, but the one that really catches my attention time and time again is the Fair Trade network, where all the Fair Trade partners are, and they help each other. And if there's a fire or this or that, there's really a sense of community there. So yeah. Yeah, Melissa's also said we are an NPO, so that's also why our price point for engagement is much lower. We're really trying to work with the people, we also work with the people who really want to make a difference, and that makes a difference because it is a rite of passage. It is a lot of work to get it done, but you're actually doing it the right way, and you're getting support all along the journey, which is great. Yes.
There's a question from Faith. Yeah.
Faith, does Fair Trade Tourism offer any programs for uplifting communities such as learnership and volunteering initiatives? Not that I can think of offhand, but that's a type of question that is very easy to put into our membership structure and ask them, hey, listen, what's available, who's doing what, how can we connect? Because we encourage all our businesses to actually be able to also bring in internships, bring in unskilled labor, and actually work with them from the local community. So we don't actually have a program as such, but the communities that we work with quite often would have something like that.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.